Welcome back, coffee aficionados. When we talk about brewing that perfect cup at home, our minds often jump to grind size, water temperature, and that all-important brew time. But have you ever stopped to consider the physical characteristics of the coffee beans themselves, specifically their size and density? These often underappreciated factors can have a surprisingly significant impact on the taste and consistency of your daily brew. Let's dive into why the size and density of your coffee beans matter, and what you should keep in mind as a discerning home barista. Not all coffee beans are created equal. Their size and density are influenced by a fascinating interplay of factors, including the altitude at which they were grown, the specific coffee varietal, and the processing method employed after harvesting. A general rule of thumb is that beans cultivated at higher altitudes tend to be smaller and denser. This increased density is often a telltale sign of a slower-growing bean, one that has had more time to develop and concentrate its intricate flavors, a highly sought-after characteristic in the world of specialty coffee. Denser beans often exhibit more even roasting and tend to respond more favorably to certain brewing methods. For example, espresso and pour-over often benefit from the nuanced flavor extraction that high-density beans allow. Conversely, lower-density beans, often hailing from lower altitudes, may roast at a faster rate and require a more attentive roasting approach to avoid the pitfalls of bitterness or underdevelopment. The density of a coffee bean significantly affects how it absorbs heat during the roasting process. Denser beans typically require more energy input, and may necessitate slightly longer roasting profiles to fully unlock their aromatic and flavor potential without scorching their outer layers. When it comes to grinding, denser beans tend to produce more uniform particle sizes, which is absolutely crucial for achieving consistent and even extraction during brewing. If you're grinding your beans at home, being mindful of bean density can be a game changer. A high-density bean might require a finer grind setting compared to a fluffier, lower-density bean when using the same brewing method to achieve optimal extraction. The primary way that bean size and density impact your brewing process is through the rate of extraction. Smaller, denser beans often possess tighter cellular structures, meaning that water will penetrate them more slowly during brewing. This slower extraction can be particularly advantageous for methods like pour-over or siphon brewing, where control and precision are paramount for achieving a balanced and nuanced cup. On the other hand, with less dense beans, there's a higher risk of over-extraction, especially if your grind is too fine or your brewing water temperature is too high. Paying close attention to how your beans behave both in your grinder and during the brewing process can provide valuable clues for fine-tuning your brewing approach. While most retail coffee packaging won't explicitly list the bean density, there are some clues you can look for. Labels indicating high-grown or beans sourced from mountainous regions often suggest a higher density. Specialty-grade beans from reputable roasters are generally selected for their consistency in both size and density. Try to choose bags of beans where the individual beans appear relatively uniform in size, as this consistency aids in both even roasting and predictable brewing. Here are some general recommendations based on bean characteristics. For pour-over, consider trying high-altitude beans from regions like Ethiopia or Colombia. They are typically smaller, denser, and bursting with bright and complex flavors that shine in this method. For French press, lower-density beans with a more rustic and sometimes slightly larger character, such as some naturally processed Brazilians, can work well in the immersion-style brewing of a French press. Gear tip: if you're serious about dialing in your brew, invest in a burr grinder that offers micro-adjustments. This fine-grained control will allow you to precisely tailor your grind size based on the specific density of your beans. In conclusion, while often overlooked, the size and density of your coffee beans are important factors that contribute to the overall quality and flavor of your home brew. By understanding these characteristics and how they interact with roasting and brewing, you can take your coffee game to the next level and consistently craft delicious cups. Happy brewing!